and I hope that someone is going to be inspired. Someone is going to take one or two things from here, and it's going to help you in your journey. All right, my journey tonight is a journey of faith, I tell you. And by the time you listen to my story, you will know. It's a journey strengthened by perseverance and, of course, anchored in patience. And those are the three things that actually got me through these 4 years of being a business owner. Okay, who am I? Who am I? So my name is Dasala Salami. I'm originally from Nigeria, and I live right now in Baltimore, Maryland, with my family since 2009 when we relocated. I'm a busy mom of three young adult girls and a teenage boy. I work as a clinical quality improvement analyst. Right now, I hold a Bachelor of Technology in Applied Physics, an MBA in Marketing, and of course, Masters of Science in Earth Informatics. Marketing, I never used it. So running a business does not mean you need to learn how to, you need to be, have a background in marketing. It's just that that was part of my background. And I joined this business in April 2021. So, what are my whys? What actually propelled me to start this business? In 2020, I was actually finishing rounding up my second master's, which was the Masters of Science in Informatics at Johns Hopkins University. And as at that point in time, I was actually, I was working part time. My background is in IT, so I was working part time, and also I was in healthcare. And I thought of I needed to have a business of my own, something that I can actually call my own. So as at that time, I was seriously searching for something to do. Mind you, my first daughter was already in college. We have a second daughter was getting ready to get to university. So we were like, oh, we need to do better than this together with my husband. So I came across the ad as at that time. There was a medical doctor in Manchester, UK. And prior to her, I've seen so many other advertisements, but I would just keep them and I would just pass. But when I saw this particular lady's ad, mind you, most of my colleagues then, my classmates then, they were medical doctors because I was pursuing a course in healthcare and it's in the school of medicine. So majority of them are medical doctors who wanted to convert from being a practicing medical doctor to management. So when I saw her ad, that really caught my attention. And then I listened to her. I reached out to her immediately. And once she told me that, she started a business, now she could work 3 times as a medical doctor. And the remaining 2 days, she's putting it in her business. And I thought, oh, that's what I'm looking for. So my goal as at the time I was starting the business, particularly, firstly, was my family. All I was thinking about my children, how are they going to pass through college, with no stress. Then my retirement, that time I was getting close to my 50, my golden years. I was like, oh, what do we have in savings? Really, I can't really point to anything that will say, together with my husband, is 401(k), my 403(b). It's not something that even when we retire, we can live on it. And I remember my siblings were part of my why too. When I was back in Nigeria, I was like I said, I'm an IT professional. I work in the banking sector and I rose to a management level before I left. So I knew things were okay for us. But when we relocated here and with all the things I brought, the certificate and everything, looking for something to do, they were all asking for a US experience for somebody who's just relocating. And I was like, how will I get this? I'm just coming. So I was trying other things to do. I started my career, started to do medication technician, certified nursing assistant. I went completely out of my profession, my comfort zone, just to get accustomed to the system here. And in the midst of all this, I was never around. My husband was never around. So my kids, we were a family of 5 when we came. So my kids were left in the hand of my 11-year-old daughter at that time. Now she's 27. So she was the one like the mom, she was the one like the dad for them. And one day I knew she told me and said, is it not better for us to go back to Africa? Because I know we were comfortable, we have everything. So why are you doing all this? And that was one of the reasons that really touched me. I'm like, really? If this guy can be saying it. So I started looking for something to do right from the comfort of my home. Even though I'm doing all these other jobs, I'm thinking of, can I get something to be doing alongside that will give me that time to be able to stay with them? So that was what propelled me to be looking for a business to do, a side business. So seeing that advertisement with that lady, I was like, I think this is it for me. I actually registered, on the website. I registered with her. I watched the webinar, and just like so many people, I was dragging. I was dragging, and in February, 2021, I decided to pay the $149. I saw the advertisement in November 2020. I finished my master's in December 2020. So I was still dragging, thinking, oh, I'm going to pick another job so that things will be better. But here I was looking for a job. The offers that was coming for me were nothing to write home about. And I was like, with the school loan, how can I take this kind of offer they were offering me? So at the end of the day, I decided to look at the online business and I said, let me see what is there. So I paid the 149 at that time in the month of February 2021, and also I did my coaching call at that point in time. At that particular time too, my husband and I were pursuing two other franchises. One of it we were turned down. They told us no, you were not qualified. And the other one, I was thinking, hoping that okay, we will get this and we will start this. But when they turned me down again with the other franchise, and I said, what do I have left for me? I think I better go and explore what is in the online business. So that was what brought me into starting, and that was the beginning of my journey. So after eventually in April, I decided to use the money that we were saving as a down payment for the franchise. I used that to start my business, which was a trifecta. And so that was how I started in April. And in April 28th, I got my ID. And now the journey started. The training side was unlocked for me because I was in IT. So most of the things that I saw in there were things that I know I could do on my own. So it wasn't really a big deal for me. So I was doing it gradually. But because I was working two part-time jobs, I was also rounding up my master's program. So I didn't really have that time at my fingertips. So when I come back from work, I'll put some time into the business, go through the training side. And I did this for 4 weeks. At the end of May, I finally launched my very first ad, which I tested. And then, the ads were bringing leads were coming in, but there was nothing. There was no conversion. Nothing was happening. But then I will attend the dream team or the mastermind. I will listen to people. I remember one of the mastermind I attended, and Lydia from UK was saying that she was running ads. She was having leads for 8 months and there was nothing. And I said, oh, okay. And I think I can still continue. So God smiled on me, in the 1st of July, I got my very first, she was my lead in the month of May or June. And in 1st of July, she became a lead actually in the month of, she has been following me. And July 1st, she now became a buyer. And then as at that time, when I would ask my mentor, what I believe was that the funnel is going to convert them. The emails they're receiving is going to convert them. So once they become a buyer, I'll just message them, my coach will message them, I'll say things, but I'll just leave it out there. And, nothing was happening. But this particular lady, she became my very first distributor. And then I claimed my 2A, having started with the trifecta. And after that, I had so many, buyers. Some of them were not converting, some other were converting. And that was how the journey started. So from July, when I claimed my 2A, I didn't get to 3 until December 15, 2021. So you can see the gap. But I kept on going because I didn't want anything to drag me back. I already made up my mind that I'm going to start this business and I'm doing it. So that was how I started. And then in 2022, after all, at least I remember that I was waiting for just like 5 points to claim my 4A at February 2022. And then nothing was happening again. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? So it was just dragging. Eventually, I needed 1 point to get to 20 so that I can start at 21, and then nothing was just happening. But thank God, my mentor then, she reached out to my coach, and along the line, they made it possible. So I had my 20 points, and then I claimed my 4A on March 17, and that was how I started in March 17, 2022. Now, between March 17, 2022, and the end of the year, nothing was happening. I had buyers, but those buyers were not converting. They were there. I had a lot of leads in my funnel. You have a lot of leads, and none of them were converting. The buyers were not converting to distributors. And I was like, what am I going to do? What is happening? But thank God for Dream Team. When you go to Dream Team, when you see people sharing their stories and their journey, that will inspire me again. When I come to Mastermind and I listen to people's story, that I will draw strength from that. That will inspire me again. And then I continue going. And in June, exactly in June, I said, okay, let me just keep going. So I did my my coaching, pre-examination and everything, and then I became a coach in June. And then I started, and I told myself, okay, I think I have a leverage now. I can talk to these people in the way they will understand much more better. Probably, I was hoping. And so, from that time, June, up until January 2023, it was just like maybe 2 points, 3 points. It was just dragging. And at that point in time, I was thinking, am I going to drop or am I going to quit this business at this point in time? But each time I remember how I started, each time I remember the stories that I've listened to, it will keep me going. And then I said, something has to happen. So I was just looking up to God and like, let something just happen. And by January 2023, I claimed my 5A. Now, what actually drew me back between January 2023 and 2020, after January 2023, September, my Facebook was hacked. My page was hacked. And I tried everything that I could. While I was still on it, trying to, going forward and back with the Facebook people, their team and the support team and everything, my personal profile was locked again. And mind you, the personal profile is the administrator to my page. So at that point in time, I don't even know what to do. I was really sad. So I was just not doing anything. I was not just doing anything at that point in time because I was like, of all the journey, the way I've started, how come this is happening at this time? So I just stood right there. Instead of me to create another business page to keep going, I was just head back right there. I didn't do anything. And then I had some loss in the family, things like that. So that was drawing me back again, coupled with the fact that the page was, out and I couldn't have anything. But along the line, in the course of my journey, I do have both Facebook advertisements and YouTube advertisement. As a matter of fact, it was my YouTube advertisement that actually took me to 4A. It was the ad I was running on YouTube that took me to 4A. And then I decided to come onto Facebook to come and continue again on Facebook. I brought the same ad, the same video, and I brought it to Facebook. That ad is what now took me to 5A. Because at the time I was running Facebook, I was not running YouTube again. And the ad took me to 5A. So throughout 20, from that September when my page was hacked, I was not doing anything. Not until January 2024, and I said, no, I just have to continue. I can't just be looking and be watching what is going on. My team members, I was showing up, I was helping them, but right in my mind, I knew that I was actually perplexed. I didn't, and I don't want to show it as a coach. I don't want to show it to my team members. I was carrying that with me, but I don't want them to see it. So January 2024, I told myself, I just have to create a new page. I can't continue like this. So I created a new business page for myself. I created a new profile, and then I started again. Buyers were coming in. At that point in time, I have to do another kind of ad. And I did a message ad that was coming directly to my WhatsApp. So I was getting a lot of feedback, a lot of leads were coming in. Some of them were buyers. And then the thing that worked for me at that point in time was that there was this constant communication with these people because they come directly to my WhatsApp. So there was communication. Some of them will communicate. When I say that it's too bothersome for them, I will leave. After using the first, the second, the third time to communicate with them, I will leave it. And then by the fourth time, I will see them, they're just coming to become a buyer. They will become a buyer. So these are people who have been following me, who've been communicating, and then for them, once they become a buyer, you will think they're going to become, distributor, and then they will be holding back. They will not want to become a distributor. So that was how the journey was going for me. And then I was like, this journey is taking too long. This is not right. Things does not have to be like this. But I thank God. Some of those people that actually came in through my WhatsApp that became a buyer in 2025, majority of them started to convert. A lot of them started converting from buyer to distributor. They came in as a quadfecta, they came in as a trifecta, and then as at that point in time, I was waiting, like few points, I think 10 points, to be claiming my 6A. And then I look at my volume and I saw that my volume sales, it's lesser than what I needed. So that was another stumbling block for me. So I was just holding on to see what I can do in order to bring up the volume sales so that it will be at par with the one-on-one that I need. And eventually, in the month of March, I thought, it's going to happen in the month of March. And then there was nothing. I was just looking for just 3 points to claim the 6A, and it didn't happen again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to start all over again? But meanwhile, I was not at my 300,000 sales. So in the month of April, God just did it in a miraculous way. Honestly, in April, I'd given up already. I've thought, oh, maybe I'm going to go to May again. But God did it. How God did it, honestly, I didn't know. I can't say this is the way. I just know that people came in, they became my buyer, and then they became distributors. And boom, before I know it, I had that 9 sales. There was a trifecta, 3 trifecta, I think, and then I needed a 10th one, and I got the 10th one. And then I claimed the 6A in the month of April. So it was a journey of that God's hands wonders on me. And that was why when I was putting out my 6A post, I said God did it, because I didn't know how it happened. I know God did it. It wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the challenges, like I said, my husband was totally in support of the business because we were both looking for something to do. As a matter of fact, he paid the 149 when I wanted to start. But I have friends, colleagues, and they were so skeptical. They were not sure. They were like, oh, I've done something like this before. It didn't work. Are you sure you're on the right path? He didn't want to do it. So I kept on going. And even when I run my heart, as far as I'm in Maryland, I usually exclude my Camry just because of these skeptical people that ran me. I don't want them to see my heart and say something that will just, put me off the track. So I will exclude my present Camry so that they won't see, because I know some of my church members and friends, I have them, and I don't want any negative vibes around me. Leads were not converting enough, as much as I expected to convert. And I had some buyers that actually refunded. There was a time that some of my buyers were just refunding back to back. I think that was in 2023. They were just refunding back to back, back to back. And I was like, what is happening? But when I talked to other business owners, and they would say, oh, it does happen. So I kept on going. And then the ones that were not refunding, they were not converting to distributor. They were just hanging on right there. They were not just converting. And the Facebook account that was hacked, that was a problem, my personal profile. And then the WhatsApp, most of the leads that I had in WhatsApp, because we've already established a means of communication, we communicate forward and back, and some of them were like, oh, next month I'm going to do. I created a label for them. So there's a way I normally communicate with them, because based on the label I created, and boom, Facebook restricted my WhatsApp. I had 3 ads running at that period of time, and those 3 ads were coming to my WhatsApp. And so as soon as the WhatsApp was restricted, the ads were stopped. And that was another thing that drew me back in the beginning of this 2025, because if not that, I have so many, and because I did not save some of these numbers, I have a way of communicating with them via the labels I've created. So I couldn't even go back to look at the numbers and said, except the ones that were buyers and they were waiting to become distributors. But thank God for the mastermind, that one of the mastermind that it was, I think Coach Alette came, and she talked about retargeting in Facebook. So I quickly remember, I said, okay, if I lost all these people through my WhatsApp, let me go and do retargeting. Since they are within USA, I'll be able to get them. And truly, that really worked for me. I did that retargeting ad, and then most of those people in USA, they came, I got some of them. They were like, oh, I've been communicating with you before. So I got some of them back through that retargeting ad that I did. And that was how I was able to claim, my 60, because they came back. Some came in a trifecta. Some people don't know how to, and that was how I was able to claim my 60. But in all these challenges, I know I'm not going to stop, because I've seen what the community offers. I've seen what the business offers, and I know what I wanted. So, but I just know that I just need to keep going. But the fact that the journey is taking forever, it's somehow demoralizing, and I don't want that to hold me back. So I just kept on looking to God and said, something has to happen. Something has to happen. And eventually, God made it happen in the month of April. My motivations, the weekly masterminds. At a point in time, anytime I'm down and I feel that things is not working, I will come back to the mastermind and listen. And once I listen to people's journey, their stories, and I will draw the strength from there again. I'm like, okay, God will do it. Dream Team, when you go to Dream Team and you see people's story, you see the success story of people, then that gives me the hope and said, oh, my own is coming. My own is going to come one day. And of course, I have some of my team members that were dedicated. They were always showing up, even they running their hearts, doing all this. So when I see those ones, I'm like, oh, I can't quit on these people. They are doing, no, I can't do this. So that gives me the motivation again. And then the income. Sometimes when I feel like, okay, I'm not claiming the rank that I ought to be. I ought to have been at this rank, but the income is coming. And that is one of the things. I wanted the income that can sustain me in addition to what I'm having. So when I see the income, that gives me the motivation to keep going. The lesson that I learned in the course of this journey is that communication, when I started communicating with my leads, the thing changed for me. Unlike when I started the business in 2021, if I had done a lot of communication with my leads and buyer at that point in time, my journey must have been faster. But as soon as I changed and I started communicating with those leads, the way I created the labels for them, the way we communicate, there is a lot of response. I was started to get responses from them. So it changes for me. And of course, I make sure that I show up for my business every day. The period, the time that my page was hacked, I was showing up on my personal profile every day. I was still posting. I was, posting things to educate my followers, people who are following me. It's just that some of them were not there. And so when the profile was blocked again, I was like, oh my goodness, what will I do? So I was just hanging right there. And that moment where I didn't even know, not that I didn't know what to do, but looking at where I started, where I was, and all that was happening, it was really, it really hurt me. So I was like, I don't even know what to do, whether to go forward or to move back. But when you come to Mastermind and you hear people's stories, what has happened to them, I have to keep going. And then I started to do a lot of follow-up. The follow-up that I started doing changed the game for me again. A lot of them will even leave messages for me. A lot of them will call. A lot of them will leave voice messages. And then some of them already knows the time they're coming in to join the business. And they will come at that time. I'm starting next month. Because of the communication that we have, they will pay as a buyer. They will pay the 149 to become buyer at that time. So that communication and the follow-up actually work for me, and it changes things.
Because
key to success, the system works. I can tell you that the system works. We all, if have been here, we've seen it, that the system that we have works. Sometimes the journey might be dragging, it might look like it's not working, but the system, the proven system that we have works. And that's one of the things I mention all the time. I practice gratitude a lot. Each time I remember that I'm not where I ought to be, I will ask myself, is this where I started? No, then I know that I have to give thanks, glory to God. Thank God that I might not be where I'm going yet, but this is not where I started. So that alone keep me the momentum, to keep going. I know my strength, and I just know. So I believe in my strength. I believe in what I can do, but I just know that something is not working the way it should be. So I need to tweak what I'm doing in order to get the result that I need. And I don't speak negative things over my, even no matter how it is, no matter how downcast I am, I don't speak any negative things. Rather, I will look for the word of affirmation. I will speak it over myself. I will speak it over my business. That will keep me going. No negative words can come from my mouth. You can never hear that. And I trust God to the core. Every time when things are not working, I take it back to God. I'm like, God, it's over to you. I committed it into your hand before I started. Now I'm giving it back to you. You have to show me the way. And God has shown up for me. He has shown up for me. Few of the things that are my biggest day. I used to post my income before. I do post my income, but I posted an income. People picked it up, and then it was shared. The way income was shared around, and it went to one of my family members who posted it back to me to say, "Oh, you are making all this money." And then I stopped posting my income. So, but at the beginning of my business, I think at the years at 2023, 2022, I do post a lot of my income. My days of four figures, I do post my income, and to the glory of God, I've been having 4 figures coming into the business for me. There are months that have 5 figures. I give God the glory when it comes as well. Vacation is one of the things that I've always been looking forward to. Prior to coming to the United States of America, we used to go on vacation even back at home. But coming here, there was no income for it. You don't have that capital to use for it. But one thing that the business has done for me is that since that 2021, we've been going on vacation, and the business has always been paying for it. Each time I claim the vacation, I claim it in my business. So I'm grateful to God for that. When my second daughter entered university, we were able to buy a car for her, even though we're not able to pull all the money, was not coming from the business. But some of it, we were able to add to what we have to buy her a car to the university. So which ordinarily, probably I don't know, it might not have been possible. But these are the blessings that I got from the business. And God, as one of the things I love to do is to give back to people. I've always loved to give to people. But then when you live on income that your own expenses, even more than the income you're earning, it becomes difficult. But God used me in 2024. One of the things I told God is that, God, if you're going to bless me and help me through this business, I'm going to come back and do it. And so I said, when I turn 50, I'm going to bless people. And so last year, when I turned 50 years, I was able to donate 5 million to 50 widows to start a business of their own. And I give God all the glory, because sometimes I ask myself, really, how am I able to do this if not from the business? I just give God the glory for the opportunity to be able to do that. And God helped my family last year. We were able to get a rental property. Part of the money that was used to get all the things to set up the home, some of them came from the business, some of them came from other source of income. So I give God the glory. Honestly, God has really shown up for me. That's why I said my journey is a journey of perseverance, it's a journey of patience, because God walked through it for me, not on my own power, but by the will of God. God was able to do all these things and make it possible for me. And I cannot end this without saying a big thank you to my team DB Achievers. Honestly, the very first 2 years of my business, I was my own ego. It was like I was the only one in the midst of the ocean. I was to my own ego. And some that were even, trying along the line, they quit the business. But then God brought other people along the way. So I cannot complete this without saying a big thank you to them. I didn't do this on my own. They were part of the achievement for me. DT Maryland, I know when I joined the business, there was a group called DT Maryland. So that team, that group was revamped last year. And I'm so thankful for everybody that associate themselves with DT Maryland. We came together last year, as an in-person to encourage each other, to strategize. And these are the people that keep calling me. Even when I have meetings, once a meeting with them, and we're doing it, I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to claim my 6A. They will say, no, you're claiming your 6A. You're claiming your 6A, Coach Tasola. And it happens. So I say a big thank you to each and every one of them. 2023, when I went to Calgary for the convention, I met Coach Raza. He has been at my meetings, at my coaches' meeting twice. He has been a blessing to me, and I can't forget the things that I learned from him. So I'm so grateful to him. Coach Rico sat with me at the convention, so you might not remember this. We sat together, we talked at length, and some of the things that he shared with me still stand with me up to today. So I'm grateful for him. Coach Karen did a small ad with me and some of my friends. Each time I listen to that ad, I just bump on her and I'm saying, okay, if you're doing an ad now, what will you say? And she did something very small. And each time I listen to that ad, it reminds me of what I want to say. How do I want to do my ad? So I'm so grateful for the blessings of these people in the business community. Honestly, sometimes when you reach out to some people, of course, they will respond. But I realize that even being a coach now, we're so busy, but at the same time, out of the busy schedule, they still have time to get back to you, to respond to you. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to meet these people, tap from their knowledge as well. I'm so grateful for this. Also, I want to thank my support system. I have people who are not within my big team, neither are they within my team, but they are like my they are like my rock, my support system. When I want to vent, when I want to say things and I call them, they always have the listening ear to listen to me. They all know themselves. I'm grateful for having you as friend and also as business partner for being part of me in this journey. I'm so grateful. My coaches, my immediate coach, she has some family issues, life changes, and then she has to step aside from the business. But even the time she was in the business, she was also a sort of support for me. The morale, the calling, the testing, I can't quantify it. So even though she's not in the business, but I mention her in the course of this journey. And my other coach, Coach Temi, she was my coach. I remember sometimes she would come, when are you claiming your CCA? I said, I'm going to claim it. But eventually it happened. So I give God the glory. It's not by my own power, it's by the grace of God. And I used to say the daily affirmation to myself. That affirmation when Coach Aranet said it, and I think she said, you have to do those affirmations to yourself. It does actually work. One of my support systems said in April, I said, those things work. Say it over yourself. And I said it over myself too. And eventually I was able to claim the 6A in the month of April. And to me, I used to say it, that's my slogan every now and then. I'm not where I'm going yet, but I'm not where I started. And I know I'm still going far. And I hold on to the anchor, onto the word of God, as I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So if God has promised that I can do it, I know I can do it. It might just take a matter of time, but I know I'm there. And I tell people who I am, I'm here to help families. I'm here to help moms. I'm here to help people in the corporate world. I've been in the corporate world for 25 years. And I know how it is. It's not easy. So I'm here to help you. And that's what I used to say all the time to people. Who cares to listen? It's not a matter of working harder, but you want to work smarter. Have time for your family. So for those that cares to listen, even my colleagues in my present work, I used to tell them, and I thank God that God is with me. God has been listening. He has been my source of strength all this while. God has never forsaken me. So I want to thank you, everybody. I want to thank Coach Rawan for hosting this. And I want to say thank you for Darren and Mike for the platform. The platform is truly a life changer, I tell you. It's a life changer for so many of us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dream Team.
Okay, you guys just heard my coach finish her testimony. How do you feel? My coach is an example of patience and perseverance win the race. And thank God for her life. And I'm telling you, you can also give the same testimony. You can give the testimony of your journey to the promised land. And that is the reason why I'm bringing this to you as a motivation, that this business is authentic and is real, globally accepted, and 100% genuine. Thank you.